In a dim, dusty warehouse in North Carolina, a man in denim overalls stood staring at a broken machine. It was 1968. His business was failing. His dreams were slipping through his fingers. What's this video? That man was Kihachiro Onitsuka, a former military officer from Japan. He had started a shoe company after World War II, believing sports could rebuild a broken nation. His company, Onitsuka Co., had created the first Japanese basketball shoes. But now, facing stiff competition and declining sales, he needed something bold, something no one else had dared to try. In the same year, across the Pacific, a young American track coach named Bill Bowerman was tinkering with his wife's Waffle iron. Yes, really, trying to make a better running shoe sole. Bowerman and his former runner Phil Knight were importing Onitsuka shoes to the US under a little-known brand called Blue Ribbon Sports. But tensions were rising between the two companies. Knight had traveled to Japan in 1963, pitching himself as a big distributor. Onitsuka agreed, not knowing Knight had no real company, just a dream and a $500 loan from his dad. Blue Ribbon Sports began selling Onitsuka's shoes from the trunk of Knight's car at track meets. Slowly, they gained traction. But Knight wanted more. He wanted control. He wanted to build his own brand. In 1971, after a bitter fallout, Knight cut ties with Onitsuka. The Japanese company sued him. But Knight had already made his move. He had a name, a logo, and a vision. He called it Nike, named after the Greek goddess of victory. The logo, a simple swoosh, was sketched by a college student for just $35. At the time, no one thought it mattered. Nike's first real test came during the 1972 Olympic trials. Bowerman's Waffle sole shoes caught athletes' attention. Runners started whispering about them. Orders trickled in, then flooded. Nike was off to the races. But success didn't mean stability. Knight was constantly borrowing money to keep the company afloat. Banks didn't trust him. He risked everything, again and again, just to pay suppliers and meet demand. In 1974, the lawsuit with Onitsuka went to court. Knight testified for hours. Eventually, the judge ruled in his favor. Nike was free, but the real fight was only beginning. Nike began signing athletes, runners, tennis players, basketball stars. One of their early bets was a young, fiery tennis player named John McEnroe. His rebellious image matched Nike's bold new attitude. Then came 1984. Nike took its biggest risk yet. A rookie basketball player from North Carolina named Michael Jordan. They offered him $500,000 a year, unheard of at the time. The Air Jordan 1 launched in 1985. The NBA banned the shoe for violating uniform rules. Nike ran with it. Banned became a marketing goldmine. Sales exploded. Over $100 million in the first year. Suddenly, sneakers weren't just for sports. They were culture, fashion, identity. Nike wasn't just selling shoes anymore. They were selling stories, dreams, rebellion, victory. But behind the glamour, a darker story brewed. In the 1990s, Nike faced growing criticism over labor practices in its overseas factories. Sweatshop scandals spread across headlines. Consumers were outraged. Activists protested. Celebrities called out the brand. Nike's image took a hit. Sales dipped. For the first time in decades, the company was on the defensive. Phil Knight had to act. In 1998, Knight addressed the issue publicly. He admitted Nike had become synonymous with sweatshops. That, he said, has to end. The company pledged reforms, audits, and transparency across its supply chain. Nike began investing in workers' rights, education programs, and better factory conditions. It wasn't perfect, but it marked a shift. The company was learning that profit couldn't come without responsibility. Meanwhile, Nike continued to dominate sports. From the Olympics to the World Cup, their logo was everywhere. Athletes like Serena Williams, Tiger Woods, and Cristiano Ronaldo became global icons under the swoosh. In 2012, Nike introduced the Flyknit, an ultralight, minimal-waist shoe pushing sustainability. Technology and design fused into performance. Nike was no longer just keeping up, it was leading again. Then, in 2018, Nike made another bold move. They featured Colin Kaepernick, the NFL quarterback who knelt during the national anthem, in a major ad campaign. The backlash was immediate. Some people burned their Nikes in protest. Others praised the company's stand. Sales spiked. Believe in something, the campaign read, even if it means sacrificing everything. It was risky, and it worked. Through every twist, every lawsuit, protest, or public firestorm, Nike kept evolving. The company that once sold shoes from a car trunk was now a $180 billion empire. Still controversial, still powerful. Phil Knight stepped down as chairman in 2016, ending an era. The man who started with $500 and a dream had built a brand that shaped global culture. But he never forgot the struggle. In his memoir, Shoe Dog, Knight wrote, "The cowards never started, and the weak died along the way. That leaves us." It wasn't just about shoes, it was about survival. Nike's story is about motion, forward motion, through failure, through fire, through fame. It's about believing in something before anyone else sees it, and never slowing down. And hey, if you've made it this far, you clearly like great stories. So why not hit subscribe? Unlike Nike, we won't make you run a mile first. From Onitsuka to Nike, from Japan to Oregon, this tale is stitched together with risk, rebellion, and relentless ambition. Shoes just happened to be the vehicle. The vision was always bigger. Today, a kid somewhere is lacing up their first pair of Nikes. They don't know the history. They don't know the lawsuits, the protests, the waffle iron. But they feel something. They feel the promise of possibility. That maybe, just maybe, they can fly. And that's what Nike sells best. Not shoes, not clothes, but the feeling that greatness is within reach. It's the feeling of standing on a podium against all odds, the echo of a heartbeat before the race begins. The moment you choose not to quit. That's Nike. That's victory. From a Japanese warehouse to a global juggernaut, the road was anything but smooth. But every scar, every scandal, every step forward shaped the brand we know today. Nike is more than a company. It's a symbol of hustle, of rebellion, of never backing down. And it all started with a guy, a dream, and a pair of shoes. As long as there are races to run, goals to chase, and boundaries to break, Nike will be there, reminding us to just do it, no matter how many times we fall. Because at the heart of this empire isn't just performance, it's belief. Belief that the next step, the next leap, the next dream is always worth it, even if it starts with a waffle iron.